Be in, and not only should we be starting, but it's still starting with OBS. It's so annoying.
Hello again. I am doing
Sorry, forgive me. God, I'm so unprofessional. So unprofessional. Alright. Current stream. Oh, I still need to change the name. Pretender overview. That's what we're doing now. Boom. Okay, now we can get started. Hi. I hope everyone's doing well. I am going to continue my nation overview, and now we're going to do pretender design for Kronah. The dragon approaches. Oh yeah, I have EDS, so I need to wear these when I use the computer. It's my gamer protection. And I think I'm just gonna make sure the stream is working correctly, because I can't tell because I only have one screen, so I can't tell. But I think it's working. Yep, working just fine. So, I haven't decided if I want to let the nation have traditional pretenders as well, or just the thematic ones. I have 3 thematic pretenders: the High Matriarch of Thought, the First Patriarch, who is like a giant minotaur, and Kronah, the dragon god himself, who's in charge of the nation. So I haven't really decided if I want to only have thematic pretenders. I'm kind of leaning towards that, but we'll see. But yes, so today we're going to go over some builds with each pretender, and then we're going to go over maybe like the summons, kind of just like the summons. Maybe I'm going to show some gameplay of the nation, and yeah, that'll be it. And I might do I might be in a game with this nation, and I'll do like a let's play with showing how the nation kind of plays in a real game. But we're going to start with the High Matriarch of Thought, and I really like this pretender. So she's 140 gold, and she has new magic cost, path 10, so she can get, she's basically like a rainbow, but she's chunky, 25 health, high MR, she's a pretty good commander, and she is inspiring researcher and adept researcher. So, and then astral nair. So, and then she can give your dominion, your nation +1 in magic. So this is the only way. You can do it a couple other ways with the generic pretenders, but of the national lineup, she's the only way to get magic 3. So one way you can play her is, I made a couple builds, is as an awake, and then you can get like, this one is like some resistances, a couple little arcane finesse, a couple little buffy buffs, and she's a pretty solid rainbow. Okay, scales. I don't know. You don't necessarily love turmoil with this nation, because that will affect your ability to make Kamir. It'll affect your ability to make these buddies. I mean, it'll lower your resources in general, but I do think it adds up to be, if I remember correctly, 3 productivity and 1 turmoil is better than 2 productivity and 0 order, if I'm remembering correctly. Obviously you maybe would prefer this in terms of like your events, getting a little bit less bad events, but it's a trade-off. This will at least be better. Turmoil and high productivity will be better for your minotaurs, because your minotaurs are all basically 19 recruitment points. But it will make a bigger difference for your Kamir, who are more likely, especially this guy, more likely to be recruitment point, especially in like a forest too, which doesn't have that many people usually. So it just, you'll be more Minotaur based and less able to have as many raiders usually. And also, this is a nation that loves gold. Your mages are expensive. They're expensive, especially these guys. And your soldiers are expensive. Like 100 gold for these, 70 for your sacreds, 40 for if you want these heavy hitters, even 30 for the normal line. Like you're spending a lot of money. So it's just a thing. But having her research is really, really nice. What else is there to say? Like, it's nice to be able to research really early. You can do some cool builds, like you can rush Justicars by getting these guys can start solo raiding. Usually you want 2 of them, One will still get killed often by like province defense, even with research. But two of them can do a really good job raiding. Once you have like alteration 3, maybe 4, depending on the enemy, for 4 for 10 per flesh. Enchantment, so you can get like flying shield, things like that. Evo 2 for shockwave. Shockwave makes a big difference for raiding with them, but with shockwave you're going to want at least 2 shock res, 10 shock resistance. If you have less than 10, they're going to often like cripple themselves with shockwave, so that's why I have it in this bless. But yeah, so that's one option. And then you can also do something like this, imprisoned. So maybe she has like a bit higher, this is actually like a bit worse as a mage herself. Like she'll have less than the, so you can kind of play around with how you want to do this. But this one is nice because you have Farcaster. This is kind of like an early game build. You have better scales, Magic 3, Luck 2. You have a lot of good heroes in this nation. I enjoyed making the heroes, so that's like a way you can play. Much better scales, and then a much more minimal bless. But with this is kind of like a for early game. You can do Farcaster, Arcane Finesse, and then have Death as the highest. So you can have a really strong Smite for the early game, and then you can use your mothers to communion together. You know, get like 6 of them in the early game, and you only need like 2 communion batteries to get the communion masters to be at Holy 3, and then you can cast smites, which don't cost fatigue. And then if you're doing that, you don't want to go into Thom because they will cast Mind Burn instead, which costs fatigue. But this Death Smite is really strong in the early game, especially with Farcaster, especially with Arcane Finesse, because now it can hit anyone in the battlefield, and now it will do extra damage. And in your Dominion, it'll do an extra penetration with the Magic 3 Arcane Finesse. So it'll do 2 extra penetration. The higher the communion, it'll do even more. It can be, this can kill like gods and like heavy sacreds. But this is like another build. There's like a bunch you can do. You can also do like something, you can do like a stats build. Maybe you drop that. Maybe drop this as a scale. Maybe drop luck. And maybe go into misfortune even and start bumping things up like this. What else can you do? We could do other things, but this is probably fine. So, and then if we look at our sacreds, you have pretty good attack and defense. You have 14 attack. There's a couple ways you could, you can do a lot of things with these sacreds if you do want to focus on them. For expansion, for your early war, you either want to do like scales or you want to lean heavy into your sacreds. I don't recommend, the sacreds just take up so much space with their high cost. You don't want to do like a little bit of, I don't know, maybe that works for some people, but you either want to only start getting them after like turn 25, or you want to just heavily lean into them. But they're really killy. They are really killy. So you probably just want to like, you could do an Undying Enchanted Blood, like something like plus 10 health, and then like Enchanted Blood, so they have like regen. You could do something like that, or you could just do like a fuck ton of stats, which I think I would actually recommend. Like this would be pretty good. You could do Blood Surge. They are really killy, so honestly, you could definitely do Blood Surge because they're gonna kill most things with their high stats. So yeah, you could do something like this, and then maybe like give them the light vision, and then this is like a stats build. This should expand pretty well. So you'll have 3 attack. You're gonna have 17 attack, and then once Blood Surge goes off, you're gonna have like 20 attack. 13 defense, like they're gonna be, and then they have 20 attack, and then this will be like plus 6, 17. They're gonna be killing shit really quickly. But there's a lot of ways you can play around with this. This is more of a stats. But yeah, now we can look at Tartarus, who is the first patriarch. He is the so just for lore, the High Matriarch of Thought is the leader of the temple. She is basically the leader of the Dominion, in terms of like the Minotaur. Like she is the highest ranking Minotaur. She is the second in command below Kronah himself, and she is the only one that really speaks to him. She's the leader. The Canton of Thought is like the educator classes. They are the a lot of the battle mages that are like not armored, like the Canton of Justice. The Canon of Justice is like the Zealots and the Justicars. The Canon of Thought is a lot of the mothers that like research and, you know, do mind control magic and stuff like that. But the first patriarch is like, he's like the ruler in the early age. I haven't made the early age faction yet, but like the men were in charge back then. He is like the classical, he's like come back. He's like old school, come back, and he's like, I'm trying to like, now the women are in charge? No, we need to bring back the good old days. That's what this guy's like. And he's huge. He's a strong titan. He's got armor on. I mean, he's basically just a giant minotaur. He can do gore and trample, which, like I said in the last video, that is rare for this nation to have gore and trample, but, you know, he's a god, so he gets to have that. He has the ceremonial hammer, so it's just like a hammer. But at construction 5, you can actually, he has his own hammer that you can craft that only he can hold. And it's basically like, you know, the gravity hammer from Halo 3? It's like that. So it'll like, I think it like shock waves in an area effect whenever he attacks with it. But it's construction 5 and it's only something he can get. But it's kind of like, yeah, so he has like this magical hammer that he doesn't start with, but you can give it to him later on. Yeah, and then he can spend a turn summoning like 2 heavy infantry, which, I mean, you don't really ever want to do. It's kind of a waste of a god turn. It's more just flavor, like, because he's like the leader of the military. But yeah, you can do a lot of things with him. You could do something dormant. You could do an awake. It's kind of tricky to actually make him work because this is a scales nation and he's pretty expensive. He is a titan. So I don't know. He's a great general. All my custom gods are disease resistant because I just hate the idea of a god. Oh, she's not. Okay. I think she used to be. It's just these 2. Yeah, I guess she's not. But, anyway, he is at least. I don't like the idea of gods getting diseases. I find that to be stupid. So, but anyway, so, you know, you can do like just an awake. This is like fine scales. Well, you don't want this to be a little higher. You can do something like this, and I mean, you know, it's just one of those things. This is more flavor. Honestly, I think if you want to have a plan if you're going to use him, because like, why would you use him? You're kind of fucking up your scales. But you could do something like maybe drop productivity and drop this. Maybe if you go higher. You could, I think I did have a build where you like hell scaled, or you did like dormant, and so if you're making a build with him, the main purpose I would say is like a Justicar build. So if like these people are really good, what's one of their weaknesses? Chaff, like a bunch of skeletons. So maybe giving them Fire Shield, which they can't normally get. Fire Shield would be really good, and then giving them regen would be great because they can't normally get regen. Like maybe you could do something later on with this, but it sucks. So, you know, give her regen, Fire Shield. She can buff her protection, so maybe fire shock resistance. That's going to be expensive though. But if we did do that, Fire Shield, resilience, and then regen, and maybe give him the ability to Cloud Trapeze. This is really expensive now. I don't even know how realistic this build is. Yeah, you'd have to drop Dominion, so you wouldn't be using the Zealots as much. No, you don't. I wouldn't. I don't personally recommend going into cold. What's 6, 7? I don't know. I have played around with this before. This build for expansion. I haven't done like a game with it. It is really fun. I don't know. Maybe you want to go like Death, or even you don't really want to go into Drain. You're definitely like a very big magic nation. It's kind of a silly build for a Scales Nation, but you don't need these scales are fine if you're making Justicars, and he helps you expand. And the idea is you just have like a bunch of these guys. Like turn 20, you're gonna have like just a fuck ton of them, and they are gonna be really tough. And it's like that's like your army. It's just a bunch of. So it's a build you can do. It's more of like a theory, like a concept. I don't know if it would like be great, but it is something you can do. I have some other things with him. Like, what is this? This is an awake build, but it's more reasonable scales. This is like something else more reasonable. These are reasonable scales, dormant, but then you got regen and resilience of the earth. You don't have the fire shield, don't have the cloud trapeze ability, but you have some nice, like, you know, you have some fire shock. You have some little buffs that are nice, like some resistances going under the dark. Your scales aren't completely fucked. He's gonna help you expand and like win a first war. He's got really pretty solid magic to break you into some nature, and he's gonna be a really nice Titan. And you know, like, I don't know, it's a build. You can do it. This one honestly is pretty cool because then, I mean, getting all of these mages getting fire shock resistance and regen is really nice. Like, you're gonna be able to do a lot of cool thugging in the mid game. Like even this little lady will be able to do like some pretty cool stuff, like maybe with like a little spear or something, or a couple these ladies especially. So you can do like a lot of really nice thugging, especially. Like, you can do that honestly in any build because they are minotaurs, but especially if you have a regen blast, like, you know, give this lady mist form, give her body ethereal, give her flight, give her I guess you can't do mirror image anymore, those Dom 5, but you know, still, even body ethereal mist form, she could probably take stuff just as herself, like naked, just with her little quarterstaff. But yeah, especially because if you give her like a pearl for power of the sphere, she'll be 3 astral, 2 air, and then you can do like shockwave. You know, you can do like light stuff, and then these will be your main like army, you know, like medium tier army killers. It's fun. He's fun. He's fun. And then my favorite is Kronah. So Kronah is like, he is the ethereal god, dragon god of the empire. He's like very narcissistic, full of himself. His nation benefits is that he can get misfortune, so you can kind of and then my like custom name will be like something like Kronah the Unlucky, because I think that's funny. I like the idea that he's like kind of cursed. So he cannot be taken awake. He is strong. He is a dragon, and instead of fire breath, he does some mind blasts and life drain. He has awe, and he's a magic being, so he can be countered in ways that kill magic beings. But he's essentially, in terms of stats, he's basically a dragon with, he has siege bonus. He's kind of like, he does like kind of like the Thuum in like from like Skyrim, that he has that kind of big voice, so he can kind of like knock down walls. It's kind of like the lore behind it. And he is a innate caster, so this is a very, very strong god. I kind of balanced him based off of like looking at like, he's very expensive too at 350. He's kind of balanced based off of like the Bronze Colossus, wherein he is stronger as a base creature, but the Bronze Colossus has more scalability in terms of being able to hold items, he can get his prot way higher. He can get, you know, give the Bronze Colossus a sword of sharpness or like a moonblade, and maybe like a black steel armor, and he can kill Kronah. But that being said, still very strong. So it's just kind of like a different kind of god compared to Bronze Colossus, but it's a similar idea. And he's a little cheaper because it's nation discount, you know? And I actually might make this guy a little cheaper too, because I'm thinking like, most Titans do get like a nation discount. But 250 is just kind of expensive, and this is a scales nation, and people are probably gonna play Kronah or her more often than him, so I might make this guy cheaper, but we'll see. Maybe make him like 220 or something, or even 200. Because look, let me just real quick. Excuse me. Pythium. Pythium, this guy. Oh, I thought he had a nation discount. Maybe not. Does Pythium get any discounts? Bad example. Let's look at Nabah. think Naval does. Yeah, Naval gets him to 360, and then this guy, who cares about that? Titans, 220, but these guys are not as strong as Tartarus. 270, I don't know. 220. They really should put armor on all the Titans. That's like the worst part about Titans, is that they don't start with any armor. Anyway, we're gonna just keep moving on. So, what do you do with this god? You can't take him awake, because he's too strong for that. That wouldn't be cool. I mean, you can do him dormant, but you're gonna have to sacrifice some scales and then diversity. I don't recommend taking him low astral. You can, and you are an astral nation, so you can like kind of get away with that. And then you have the ability to like do something like this, and then with glamour you can basically send this guy out as a copy. What is that? Simulacrum, I think, is the... Where is it? It's one of these. Yeah. Well, there's this one where you get like extra, and basically an extra life, and then there is project self. So you can do some pretty scary things with this guy. And then you could do like misfortune, bring that up, maybe bring that down. And maybe do that. Yeah, like this is not a terrible build, but honestly, I don't love the Astral 4, and I think Magic Duel doesn't count as Soul Slice, so yeah, you could basically make your idea just being like, I'm gonna do project self with this guy in Simulacrum, and then you kind of like getting around the fact that you have low astral, and then you can do Wind to Death. So I think Wind to Death is what? Yeah, you could do Wind to Death shit. You can do, I mean, he's also just really tanky, and then you have just like a really strong god in the mid game. So you could do something like that. And I'm a huge fan of. You can do a lot with the blesses, but I do think Chakras, Arcane Finesse, and like Farcaster are like pretty dang good on this nation. What else could you put on? Magic Resistance, like something like this. Glamour. You could also do like, and he's not like invincible, like he can be killed, don't get me wrong, but you could also do something like this, and you know, you don't have as much of any of the stuff that we just talked about, but you just have really high astral, so you can do really high astral stuff. And he has an astral hat that's custom for him that does give you astral 1. So you have the ability with like Astral Earth, Astral Booster. You have the ability to get him to Astral 9. Even though he can do a crown, because he has like a custom crown. I had like Construction 5 or 7, I can't remember which one. So you could do like a high astral play, or like, you know, maybe get the Astral Air 5, so you can do like Air 5 stuff, because you're gonna want Thaumaturgy. But if you do a Ring of Sorcery, you can also get a Ring of Wizardry. You can also get to a Gale-Gate. But yeah, Gale-Gate's really nice. You can do later in the game. You can do shit like, well, you can do this in general, but you can do Astral Travel with your Matriarchs. But you can also do it with him. There's a lot of things you can do, and then you can also go Imprisoned. So you can do Imprisoned. Maybe do Air 4, get some better scales. And then I think I love Death on this guy. Like you could do this Imprisoned, and your scales are gonna be good enough that you should be fine. But then in the late game, you have a really high astral. You can like snipe other gods. You got your high air, because you don't get Air 4 normally. And you have Death and Glamour just to break your nation and some other stuff. This is also a pretty fun little build. And then I would do something like this. Another thing about getting Chakras is that you can do Wrathful Skies, and then like your mages and your sacreds can like tank it, which is really, really nice. Something like that. Farcaster. You know, you don't have any nature. Nature would be nice. But you can also do Soul Vortex when he has Death. It's really cool. Just do Heroism. Heroism's always nice. But yeah, this is like an Imprisoned build you can do. Can you go any higher? 21. don't think so. Oh, look at that. Perfect. So you can like have a lot of zealots. Turn like maybe I'd say with a build like this, maybe turn 20, start transitioning into zealots is what I would recommend. But you know, you could still expand with them. They're very good. But I would expand with your scales troops with a build like this. Prison. But yeah, so those are just like the 3 custom gods. Those are some things you can do with them. And I'm gonna show you some. Let's do the debug mod. We're gonna show some summons too. Do arena, test, Kronah, la da da da, da 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 da. We'll do her, the researcher, so we have access to her. And then, make research easy so we can kind of show some stuff. So, oh gosh, I forgot about all these guys. So yeah, let's show some of like the summons. And if we're lucky, we'll see some heroes after a while, but I don't know about that. So we'll show some troops. We'll show kind of like what some of these guys can do. If you do Conj 3, Alt 3, Evo 2, Enchantment, and we'll just like research. So this is her. So in a game, you'd have, we're at research 0, but this build, she has 59 research, and then every mage will get, what is her? Every mage will get +2. So in the cap, it'll be like their 13. It's pretty solid. But like some of these guys. Dun 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 da 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 dee 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 da da la da da da. And then let's make some mothers. We're gonna summon the Harpy, the Wise Woman. So we have a couple. Actually, we have a couple summons. We can do the Wise Woman, and then we can also do the Harpy Scout. You have 2 Harpies. Harpies are like sacred. Well, not the Scout, but you have the Harpy Scout, which is just a Harpy Scout. And they are like 1 air gem, I think, that your mothers can make. And this is just gives you a little extra scout that can fly. And very nice to have a little flying scout. Why can't I fly over here? It's funny. I don't know, I guess it's just too far. My phone's being annoying. And then you have the Wise Woman. So the Wise Woman costs, what is it, 6 gold, 6 astral? Yeah, 6 astral. It can only be summoned by, in practice, I guess your matriarch, your god, and then your mother. I don't think daughters can summon them, just mothers. And yeah, so she's a harpy. She's basically just a harpy who is astral 1, priest 1, and then divine insights, which means that you can only have a number of them researching equal to your dominion in the province. So we have 10 dominion strength, which is a lot. Actually, it's a lot. Probably because we have all these motherfuckers. So normally you wouldn't have 10 dominion strength, but we're playing the debug mod just so we don't have to take forever to get stuff. So normally it'd be like 5 or 6 or 7 or something. So if that were the case, you had 6 dominion candles, you could have 6 of them researching before you have to move them to another lab. That's kind of to balance it so that you don't just like have a crazy amount of researchers, but they're really nice. It's that you get them at Conj 3, and it's kind of like they can do, you know, astral stuff, priest things, and they don't have stealthy because I was like, that's a little too much. But yeah, they can be little communion batteries, and they are nice little researchers. Give you a little research boost. Your other summons are Anoint Patriarch. I believe you only get 1 Patriarch. Let's just go all the way to 9. So the Patriarch can only be summoned by a father. So the father needs like a booster. Well, you need a fire booster or an earth booster. Usually it's easier to get earth boots. And you can, but yeah, so you need the father. Okay, so we need to get earth boots. We need our construction up. Okay. So we'll need one that is a fire random. We'll make earth boots. And I think you can only do this in your capital. Yep, costs 40 earth gems. And you make the patriarch. The patriarch is the like traditional leader of the dominion. And I want to say I made it so you only have one patriarch. I can't remember if I kept that consistent or not. I kind of went back and forth. I'm like, do you want to have one patriarch or like multiple? I think you might have multiple. Yeah, I think you can make as many as you want. The 40 earth gems are pretty expensive. They're fire 4, earth 4, so they just get you your fire and earth far higher. You don't get any new paths from them, but you do get better paths. And they're kind of like a smaller version of the first patriarch, the god. They've got awe 3 from this armor. It's magical armor, kind of gives them awe. They're like the leader. These guys are like the leaders of the army. You know, they are the equivalent to the matriarchs, but the matriarchs are in charge of the dominion, so you can just kind of make them. These guys have to be summoned because they are no longer in charge. They are second best. They've got trample. Yeah, they've got pretty good protection, trample. Why are their stats about? Oh yeah, they are old. That's kind of like the bummer thing about them. Is they're old as shit because their fire is so high. So the idea. It's kind of like a nice idea to. Like, they're, like, kitted out like they could do some really cool shit. But in practice, they're old as shit. So, in practice, you can't really... I mean, you can do shit with them. Let's see. But they're really for battlefield casting. And they're still going to have really high encumbrance. But they do let you do, like, really cool big battlefield fire and earth. Until they fall asleep. But, like, let's just see... like iron skin, temper flesh, fire shield. These guys should still be pretty strong. I mean, you don't really want to raid with them because they're like super expensive. And they also have the... Oh, wait. So this is wrong. Oh, no, yeah. They do have the custom hammer. So, yeah. A big, scary hammer. And then it does a stun effect for area of effect 1. But, you know, their encumbrance is fucking high as shit. So, they can do that for a little bit. But kind of imagine a brute chieftain in Halo. That's kind of like the idea. So they can get really high prot, really high... And then like he's at fatigue 100. So, I mean, you can gear them up to make them far better. But they don't have that much health either. So, I mean, they're a cool unit. They have serious problems. You definitely want to kit them out to make them actually work. But they are neat. But that is what you're summoning. I think you get them at Conjuration 6. So he does kill these people, and he gets a limp, which makes him even more slow. So he's going to move very slowly. But yeah, it's a cool unit. They're fun to make. But you're really going to use them for the magic access. Probably more than... I mean, you could occasionally... If you kitted them out with like reinvigoration gear and like something to deal with their low stats, like you could do something with them. But, you know. Anyway. And then, okay, these guys actually aren't old. Oh, they are. Sometimes they're going to be old. Or they're going to get old, the fire randoms. The earth randoms will be fine, but the fire random fathers will be like, after a year or two, you know, after like 10 or 15 turns, they might get old in the game. And these ladies really don't get old. Let's look at your other summons. So yeah, this... Oh, we're on debug, so you can't see the level. I'm pretty sure that was Conjuration 6, where you can make the Patriarch. And you can also, if you don't have Kronah as a god, at Conjuration 8, you can summon Kronah. But you need, like, only with your god. So the High Matriarch of Thought or the first patriarch, they can summon Kronah at Conjuration 8, and it's a summon version. And he is Astral 5, Earth 3, Fire 3, Air 4. But he's basically the god that you can choose. He has all the paths of the nation, fire, earth, air, and astral, not counting the Gerada who have nature. He has all the paths that the Minotaurs know because he taught them the magic in the first place. He's 18 protection, but plus 3 because of the earth magic. He's all 3. He's got some resistances due to... Why does he have cold resistance? He shouldn't have cold resistance, I don't think. I might need to fix that. Yeah, I'm gonna make sure he shouldn't have any extra resistances other than his magic. So I'm gonna make sure of this, other than chakras, which is for his unit. So I'm gonna look at that. And he's a Dominion spreader like a god would be. But he's basically just your god, but you can't customize him. And yeah, but it's like 80 gems. So that's what you get at Conjuration 8, and then at Conjuration 9, I can't choose it. That's okay. And then at this guy, at Conjuration 9, Kronah, and then one of your heroes, which we haven't gotten any heroes, it's turn 12 only. You can do Return of the Ekdov, but you need Astral 6, so you don't have that. And you don't have, let's get Construction 7. So at Construction 7, you can create Kronah's Divine Crown. It can only be worn by Kronah. It gives Penetration 1, Magic Rose 1, and Astral Magic 1. And then you can do that. You can put him on his head. And then you can do Return of the Ekdov at Conjuration 9. And that can only be casted by Kronah or one hero, who is kind of a rare hero. And it's, how many gems was it? Something like 35 gems. It's kind of like this nation's version of Tatarians. It summons Ekdov. So Kronah is an Ekdov, but he's like one of the last remaining ones, him and his siblings. And then there are other ones he's like bringing back from the void. And they are dragons, Life Drain, Claw, Bite, Tail Sweep, and then they have Awe. And by the late game, you can kill these guys, but they are still going to be a crazy thing. So they're kind of like weaker versions of Kronah, and they also have Shattered Soul 20. So every 1 in 5 turns, they will do like what this guy's doing and just preaching random shit. But their lines are, they start with Astral 3, and they either get 2 in Fire, 2 in Earth, 2 in Air, or 2 more in Astral. So they can either be Astral 5 or Astral 3, Air 2, Astral 3, Earth 2. And then you're also like using Kronah. He has a state in the capital to keep making them, so you're not getting use out of this guy. So they can be magic dueled, and they are magic beings, so they can be killed with various things. I should lower their siege bonus. This is too high, probably. Oh, actually, no, it's Conjuration 9. It's not a big deal. They shout it down. They got their strong voices. But I will need to check out this guy's resistances because this seems to be too much. I need to check that out. But yeah, so those are your summons. So you have some pretty cool late game summons. It kind of helps you compete with like the Blood Nations. But I mean, by the time you are getting that shit out in the late game, like, people are gonna have other crazy shit. So it's mostly just fun. It's like once you're at the 9s, people just have crazy shit. But yeah, so this is the Dominion of Kronah. And then, and then also you do have unique events where both Troglodytes and Khamir will have rebellions, just to make the nation a little harder. So, tired of endless exploitation and oppression, the Trogs have risen up in rebellion. And then you see here you have your Trog infantry, and then you have this Trog rebel, and they'll cause unrest. So if you don't deal with the rebellion, by the time you take it back, the place will be full of unrest and kind of useless. So you have to patrol things down. And yeah, they'll just come and they will if you don't have like strong defenses, they will just kill it and make you lose your province. So the nation has little things like that just to make it like a little harder. So all nations can have events where Indies attack, but you have a little bit extra events where Indies will attack. And yeah, what else? You have a couple custom spells. You have Fury of Kronah, and Fury of Kronah is actually just magma eruption, but it's a little cheaper. It's like a nation-specific thing, so I think it's exactly like magma corruption. Slightly lower area of effect, slightly lower damage, same range, but this is basically what your fathers can cast. And in the lore, the fathers sing, because Kronah is all about singing. He it's like he can sing to knock down castle walls. He sings while other dragons might breathe fire. He sings songs. And the fathers channel this, and they sing his fury, and it causes great eruptions coming out of the ground. And the eruptions are fire clouds that do blunt magic damage. Yeah. And then you have one other custom spell. I think it should be Enchantment Song of Honesty. This is something that I believe either your god can do this, or matriarchs that are fire random. So every 4th matriarch can cast this, and we can actually show it. And also I think she can cast it. So you need your astral fire. So we're gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4. So Song of Honesty is, I think it's enchantment 7, if I remember. It's enchantment 7, I believe, and it's kind of similar to Solar Brilliance. So Solar Brilliance is a constant effect that will constantly blind, easy Emermagate blind people. Song of Honesty is not constant, it happens at once. And it only affects enemies. So it's kind of like worse in a way because it does not. The other one, Solar Brilliance, will happen throughout the battle, so you're constantly getting checked. This only goes off once, so you have to cast it multiple times, but it doesn't blind your own guys. That's the trade-off. And this one is another song, so this is a song that is sung by your matriarch, your astral fire matriarch, and you're going to need, because it's astral, if she's a fire random, she's going to be astral 3, unless you get a 10% random. So she's going to need boosters, presumably in a communion. You're going to need at least 4 communion batteries, if not more, or like an astral booster. But yeah, so it'll blind your enemies. We can try that out. We can get a matriarch. We have some earth randoms. We can just empower her for the purpose of this. So we'll grab her, grab this lady. 1, 2, 3, do. And we'll just grab some soldiers. Hold an attack, and then we will march everyone. Do communion, slave, mark that as number 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do maybe power the spheres, communion master, Song of Honesty. And what is this? Is astral pearls. We'll just give her like 10 astral pearls, let's say. Let's see what happens. Army's not going. Make sure the army goes so they don't just all die. And then we'll bring, yeah, like 97 guys. And obviously this is proof of concept. We're not bringing mages, so the enemies might cast anti-magic or something. But assuming you surprise people. So we've got their troops and our troops. And we're gonna cast our things. She did power the spheres, so now she's 2 in everything that she had, and then astral 4. We're gonna do communion, So now she is boosted 2. So now she's going to be Astral 6, Earth 4, Air 4, Fire 4. And then Song of Honesty. That goes off. Let's see what happened. These guys are magic MR 12, so they're going to be fairly blind. And did she get blessed? She didn't get blessed, so she didn't get her penetration bliss. So if I had done a blessing first, which I should have done, then if I had blessed first, she would have done more. She probably would have gotten through more of their magic resistance, but we can see this guy is blind. This guy is blind. Yeah, not that many guys are blind, but some are. Interesting. This guy's blind. So it blinded some of their guys. And these are elite troops also. But she's going to cast it more than once. I think. We'll see. They're at 68 fatigue, so... Yeah, you can see failed to resist, resisted, 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 failed to resist. So it's like getting... Gosh, maybe 1 in 20 guys. And then let's do team-colored squares so we can see what's happening. Is she going to cast it again? Song of Honesty, she's going to cast it again. And yeah, if I had blessed her, it would be more effective. Cast Song of Honesty. So that goes off again. So let's see what's going on. Blinded. This guy's blinded. This guy's blinded. This guy's blind. This guy's blind. So it doesn't blind everyone, but you are blinding. Can you see who has... I don't know if you can show like who's injured in the... No, you can't. Actually, can you? What does this red stuff mean? I actually don't know. I played this game for years. I don't know what these like little red dots are. I should know what that means, but... Yeah. So I don't know if she can cast it a third time. But now they're engaging, and at least some of these guys are blind. When they're blinded, I mean, they lose -9, so it's like they're just useless in combat pretty much. And I think my Minotaurs are going to be more effective fighters. I think they're outnumbered. But, yeah, so she's not going to be casting. She's casting Iron Skin now. This communion's basically, anything important is finished. This guy's blind. Yeah, so maybe we blinded like a quarter of their army, but that is significant. And then if I had a bigger communion, like I could have done more. And if I had her blessed, I could have blinded more people. So we'll see whose armies wins. I feel like my army should win based off of they're going to be doing more repels. They have a longer weapon and they do more damage with their weapon. But they have lower defense. So they've got like 10 defense, you know. We'll see. It's kind of like a difficult matchup. Yeah, so we do kill them. And now but you do have to remember, these guys are 30 gold. My guys are 40. So even if I end up winning this fight, these guys are more expensive. So it's not... There's definitely, like, their guys do trade. 1-to-1, they do trade more efficiently. But blinding elites is really satisfying. And then versus, it's not as good as Solar Brilliance, but you don't have a chance of blinding your own guys. So that's the really nice part about it. And yeah, so 100 versus 60, we lose 19. So yeah, they had more guys and we slaughtered them. So these guys, 11 attack, 11 defense. These guys are 13 attack, 14 defense. But because they have a length 1 scimitar, and we have a length 3 glaive, we're gonna, even though we have worse stats, we are gonna be repelling them a lot. Versus if those guys had spears, and I mean, these guys do good damage. Like 23 is good and will kill. It will cut through this armor, this heavy armor. But it won't be as good as 30 damage. So, you know. Now, we had mages, they didn't. Now, we can kind of see, if we look at my boss side, we can see their survivors. Did they have guys survive? Retreat. 16 made it back to friendly territory. So 16 made it back here. And it actually doesn't seem like that many that came back. Yeah, or even... So none of the guys that got blinded are even gone. Anyway, so it's a thing. I don't know. I think it's a fun spell. It took kind of an annoying amount of time to get to work originally, because making spells can be not always super intuitive. But yeah, so that is some of the spells. Do I want to show anything else in this build? I'm not sure. Yeah, so those are some pretender designs. Those are, I'll probably show you heroes and expansion another time. We can actually go to the heroes, but I'm not gonna, it's gonna take forever for them to show up. I mean, we can see if they'll show up. Actually, you know what we can do? We can do a luck build and see if they just show up instead of going into the mod inspector. That'll be more fun. So Kronah, and then after that we'll be done. Where's the luck build? Is this one? Yeah, luck 2. And that'll be the end of the video once we do that. But if I show you in the mod inspector, you can see the stats, but you don't get to see like the you don't get to see the like build itself. Why are we in a cave? That's stupid. Anyway, we're just gonna put province defense so our ship doesn't get taken, which is annoying, and then we're just gonna go to like turn 40. But it's yeah, in the mod inspector you don't see the sprites, which is kind of annoying if you are uploading a modded like unit. So it's kind of nice to just like do this, and it's a little annoying to watch, like, oh wow, they're playing host, but it's cool because you can like see the unit sprite. Sprites are cute. Do we have any? Yes, we have some of our heroes. So yeah, so the nice thing, actually we've got a lot of heroes, almost all of them. Let's see if we can get all of them. Oh shit, he's gonna die. Okay, we're gonna start showing the heroes before they die. First we have Anna Maria. She's the matriarch of the pyramid. She's basically, Kronah's capital is a pyramid. And I have some cool artwork of it, but we're just not gonna have to show to you because it's not part of this game. It's just some art I commissioned. But she is like basically like the leader of the pyramid. She's got this cool little blue staff. She is a good researcher, and she's Astral 5. And in Priest 3, she's like another matriarch hero. And her thing is she is the only one other than a god that can cast this spell. So if you do get her as a hero, she can bring Ective back at Conjuration 9, other than your god. And then she's Astral 5, which is like a really great, Astral 5 is obviously amazing. So she's one of your heroes. You also have Titanos, who is the Minister of War. He is like the leader. Basically, all of your heroes are like leaders of things for the most part. Minister of War, he's in charge of the army, and he is like the elder basically, but he has magic. So originally my elders were gonna be mages. These guys were gonna be mages instead of like fathers. Instead of fathers and instead of war masters, it was gonna be, or instead of fathers, the male mage was gonna be either one of these guys or these guys. And then I was like, that's actually kind of overpowered. It's probably overpowered. So I made him a hero instead of like a recruit anywhere mage. And he's Fire 2, Earth 2, great leadership. And he's just riding this war rhino. He's just fun. You know, he's fun. And then he can, yeah, basically he's old, which kind of sucks. But yeah, he's a fun little hero. He's like not terribly smart is his thing. So like, it's just in the lore though. It's not really shown to be anything in the gameplay. Then you have Artemios, the Minister of Science. He's in charge of like, and the Ministry of Science is basically like engineers, smiths, things like that. So he's not a mage, but he does add siege bonus and castle defense. And he's a glutton because, why is he a glutton? I don't know why I made him a glutton. I think at one point all my Minotaurs were gluttons. He's just a glutton, you know, he likes, he's lazy. He's looking for a replacement, he's getting older, he's taking, you know, he's kind of eating more. I guess that's why. And he's older, he's actually diseased. But yeah, he just kind of like helps out your sieges. He's kind of just a cute little hero. And then you have Commune Merchants, and these are your only repeating heroes. So everyone else is unique, but your Commune Merchants, they give you a resource bonus, and they just will come if you have high luck. So they are like Commune, the highest ranking is like bureaucrats. The other highest ranking commune are the ones that make it into the merchant class, because minotaurs don't like capitalism. They're very into theocratic feudalism. So the commune take the role of the capitalist. So if they're in, they give a resource bonus, but they can also, let me kill these guys, clear the way, and we'll just see how this guy fights. There's a Trog Rebellion. He's gonna cast Iron Skin, get really high protection, get even higher protection, get a Fire Shield, Magma Eruption, and I mean, this guy's, he's actually taking damage. But yeah, he's gonna fuck these guys up. They catch on fire, they die. And let's look up here. Yeah, we're gonna go up here. Have the merchant follow. It's kind of annoying. Can we get to... Not entirely sure if he will survive this. Fire shield. Let's hope he survives this. He might not. He's not like invincible. He does survive it. Okay. Cool. And then we're gonna bring the merchant up. Do we get any more heroes? Nope. We did get her. But we're gonna bring the merchant over here. And in the forest, merchants actually change their shape. And in forests, instead of giving resources, they give gold. So it's kind of like, oh, they're going to the forest and they're like helping, they're helping the logging industry. So they kind of change shape. So and I put that in the flavor text, but they kind of like help sell arms and armor when they're in a city that's like on a plains. So you get more resources, and then you get a little bit extra gold when they're in a forest. And that's kind of their cute little mini game. And we're gonna just see if we can get, there's a couple more heroes. We got an, nope. Nope, does not seem to be. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. Can you summon heroes through Wish? You actually might be able to. I don't know how to do that. Oh, yes, you have, cool. Franciscus, the Minister of Waves. So this Minotaur is fun. He's got Sailing, 2 Falchions, and Gore and Trample. Why is his attack and defense so low? Oh, it's because of darkness, yeah. Normally he's got fairly good attack and defense, 12 and 13. He's got 2 Falchions, Gores, and Tramples. He's a fun little like fighter. He's got bronze armor, so which is like only Minotaur with bronze armor. So what is this guy's deal? He used to be a famous pirate, and he became in the Isle of the Free Cities, which are these islands that are like free of Dominion control. And then he eventually became a privateer fighting for the Dominion. And sometimes he would fight for them, sometimes he would have kind of like a pirate king. He has a big fleet, he's like a warlord, and then eventually he joins the Ministry of War, and he offers his fleet as transport for the armies of the Dominion. Minotaurs aren't super big fans of water. He's kind of unique in that way. So he has given his fleet and his fighting prowess to the Dominion, and he gives the Dominion sailing. So now, if you get him, and you have a map with water, you can use him to sail across water, giving your nation like another vector of combat, like transportation. So it's just cute. It's kind of fun. If you do get him and you're on a map with water, it's like really cool. It's like, oh wow, I can like make these slow ass Minotaurs sail now. So it's fun. I like this guy a lot. And he becomes a minister of the waves as like the leader of the fleet. But the trap is that there is no Ministry of the Waves, so it's kind of like an honorific title, and he feels very affronted by that. And he's also paid a stipend, so he costs 80 gold a year, which is 80 divided by 12, something like 6 gold a turn or something. Actually, you can actually see. Where is he? Minister of War. It says 0. Oh, no, wait, not Minister of War. Minister of the Waves. Yeah, I was right. Look at me with math. That's impressive. All right. -6. I said that. You guys saw that. Very cool. So he has like a little stipend. And then we have, well, how many made? I think we have like 2 more heroes. We have 2 more heroes. And once we get them, I'll cut the video. It's such an inefficient way. I really should stop and start. I had the ability to do that, but don't you just want to hang out together? Okay, so it is turn 79, so we might not get those heroes. We can probably wish for them if I can remember their names. Wish for. Who do I want to wish for? Matriarch of Justice and Minister. I don't remember the last one. It's Cacodius. Is it Minister of Paper? Yeah. Can you not? Oh, if you wish them, okay. You have to give them divine name, super divine name. Okay, so super divine name, super divine name. All right, these are your last 2 heroes. You have Cacodius, the Minister of Paper, and he is in charge of the Ministry of Paper. So he's in charge of the Kami bureaucrats. And he's not a mage. He's kind of like a joke. He's the older sibling of the Minister of War, and he's the most embarrassing minister on the Elder Council. They are actually queer, I think. Yeah, so they are non-binary. They spend most of their time, they're like really charming, and they're like a decent neighbor, and but they also use the vast sums of the treasury on drugs. They go to the Spicari games. The Spicari are the gladiators. And they hang out with drug addicts, prostitutes, the homeless, the queer, and the rest of the unwanted. So he's like an embarrassment to the ruling class. He's not a warrior. He's definitely corrupt. But he also like uses his money lavishly because the Dominion's very rich. And he's all nepotism. That's why he stays in power. So wherever he goes, he brings supply because he loves throwing feasts. And he does feasts and festivals. So he's always reducing unrest wherever you bring him. And then he also costs 80 gold a year. I probably should, honestly, maybe I should make him more expensive. But I think it's probably fine. So he's also like an extra 6 gold, which heroes don't usually cost anything, but maybe I'll make him more expensive. I'm not sure. But he's just kind of funny. Cuckold. I thought it was funny. He's like kind of like a unique little hero. So you have a couple of heroes that are just kind of like flavor, almost more. Because I like this nation. It was fun. And your last one is Satara, the Matriarch of Justice. And she is in charge of the matriarchy of the Zealots in the Justicars. And she is just a bad bitch. She gets the Sword of the Justicar, which is a unique item you can get. You have a couple. I forgot to show off my unique items. My bad. You have the. Why can't I afford? I don't have construction. That's annoying. I forgot I did a new game. So you have a couple unique items. You have your. The hat's not here. Weird. You had the hat that I showed you earlier for Kronah, and then you also have the Sword of the Justicar. The Sword of the Justicar is literally just the same as the Great Sword of Sharpness, except it gives 1 extra attack and defense, and it costs 1 gem less. And it can only be used by Justicars. It can't be used by other creatures. And also the Matriarch of Justice starts with 1. But it's just like a Sword of Sharpness. And yeah, she has Gore, Sword of Justicar, and then she can summon Zealots every turn. That's more of like just a cute thing you can do. You wouldn't really want to do that. But she's just like a really strong little like thug hero. And I think she is like late recruitment. So I think you can't get her until later in the game. But yeah, so that is all your heroes. You've seen all the heroes, all the summons, the custom spells. I guess I didn't play for you the Fury of Kronah, but it's literally just a cheaper version of Magma Eruption at 20 fatigue instead of 50 that your fathers can do. But anyway, that's the nation. I'll probably do them in a Let's Play at some point. But yeah, thanks for watching.